Hey, party people, PandaBrady here, and I know I missed doing a Panda Just Saw. Um, I don't know what happened, but stuff that I recorded just never showed up. I guess it didn't save. But anyways, this over this last week, I finally got around to it, Solo, Star Wars, a, a Star Wars movie. And it was it had a lot of stuff in there that I really didn't want to see. I've a lot of stuff happened that I feared would happen because hey, it's an origin movie and hey, there's all this background stuff and then they cram it all into one adventure and I was really upset with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved it. I love the Star Wars universe and mythos, but there was a lot there that I didn't like. Um, Acting was all right. The guy playing Han just radiated Harrison Ford Han Solo the entire thing through. Um, Childish Gambino. Um, I can't recall his actual name, but as Lando, oh my goodness. You couldn't have gotten a better choice unless you time traveled in the past and got the original guy. Um, but besides that, Woody Harrelson played a Woody Harrelson character. Um, yeah, there's not really a lot to talk about here. I'm disappointed with it, but I still enjoyed it. Um, so to the summary, Han has a female friend that he likes named Kira. They are semi-serious. He's living on Korriban, which apparently is like some manufacturing planet where they make speeders or something. It seems like a junkyard planet, just from looking around at the environment. He's basically in a Artful Dodger situation where he's semi-orphaned and in a band of thieves and stuff like that. Um, he steals the money from a job that he was supposed to do. Well, it's not really money, it's this ore. I forget what it's called, but it's used to power starships. And he and Kira run off after being confronted by his boss. And they make it to the spaceport where they're going to finally get off the planet. And instead, because they try to use the ore to sneak through, Han gets through, Kira does not. And Kira gets apprehended by stormtroopers and taken away. And Han sees a advertisement because he wants to come back and save Kira as soon as he can. He sees an advertisement to join the Empire. Only you can defeat the rebel scum. But he goes over to the recruiter. He's like, basically, hey, how long until I can become a pilot and get back here? And the guy's like, well, most recruits join the infantry, but if you do well enough, I guess you could be there in like 3 years or so. And Han's like, okay, well, sign me up. Okay, well, who are you? Name's Han. Okay, what's your last name? Last name? Yes, who are your people? I've got nobody, I'm by myself. Alright, then you're Han Solo. There you go, there's your name, you'll never hear from me again. And I feel like they missed out on an opportunity of making that recruiter be like a father figure towards Han while in the Empire, but no, they just skip ahead to 3 years later where he's on some swamp planet as a infantry trooper. His captain dies, and then these 3 other people just come out of nowhere, and they're dressed as troopers. One of them is dressed as captain in rank, and they fight in these muddy trenches. You never see who they're fighting, but eventually it comes down to a calm moment, and Han is like listening to one of the, I think, majors talking, and the major's like, "We must eliminate these hostiles from this planet for the glory of our empire." And Han's like, "Aren't we the hostiles? Hey, shut up. I know you're right, but no, we're the good guys here. We're the empire. How many evil empires have there ever been?" Don't answer that. But Han hears the 3 people talking. It's Woody Harrelson's character, a woman, and somebody who's very covered up and never shows their face. So he hears them talking, and he's like, "Hey, I went in." "What? I know you're not real troopers. Your armor's full of holes and you're still alive." "Yeah, that's true. So, what are we doing? How are we getting off of here?" "Who said you were coming with us?" "I did. And if you're not going to let me, I'm going to report you to the Major." "Oh, really? Hey, Major, this guy's a deserter." "What? I knew it. Throw him in the cage with Chewbacca." So, yeah, because he's branded as a deserter, they decide to feed him to Chewbacca, who's in a cage platform thing. It's weird. It's where the platform opens down into the swampiness below. And so Chewie is trying to kill Han because apparently Chewbacca hasn't eaten in like 3 days, they say. And Chewie like starts to choke Han in the mud. And I guess like as part of the recruitment as a stormtrooper, you have to learn another alien language. It just so happened that Han picked Kashyyykian. Anyways, he's getting choked. He gurgles something, and Chewie's like, "Roar?" And Han's like, "Yeah, I speak a little, okay?" And then he says in Kashyyyk language, "Alright, we're going to pretend to fight, and while we're fighting, you're going to hit this bar. They can't really see very well up there, especially in those helmets. So, we're going to break this bar that's holding up the entire cage, so it'll fall in, and then we can get out of here. I have some very good friends outside that put me in here, but that's not important. We'll get back to them, and then we can take off of this planet, and we'll never have to worry about it again." And I'm sitting here like, oh, this must be the life debt that they were talking about, because like Chewie has to be with Han because of the life debt. So Chewie ends up breaking the bar, and the cage collapses in on itself so that they can get out. They run to the ship that the 3 not troopers are in, and they manage to get them to come down and climb aboard because Chewbacca's with them, and their covered up guy is actually a little 4-armed alien guy. I forget his name. He's only in the movie for like 10 minutes, if that. He's a pretty funny character though, but he's like, you ever had a Wookiee for strength or something like that, or muscle? Yeah, you ever had Wookiee muscle? That's incredible. They'd be great for this job. All right, let's take them with us. I'm Woody Harrelson. But so yeah, they take them with them, and then they share, hey, we're actually going to do a job right now. We're going on this train, we're trying not to trip any sensors, and we're going to steal 10,000 grams of that stuff that you got from the beginning of the movie. Oh, that's awesome. That'll pay for all kinds of stuff. Yeah, but we're not going to tell you right now that it's actually a job for somebody else and not for us. So they start doing the plan, and while they're attacking, these pirates start to attack as well. One of them boards the ship, and the four-armed alien is the pilot and ends up getting shot. Han gets to show off his piloting skills after he was down on the train, and gets back up onto the ship to pilot for the four-armed guy, who sadly dies. The female of the group is named Val, and she is actually Woody Harrelson's lover, wife. They don't really say past more than lover, but Woody Harrelson's character, by the way, is named Beckett. So you'll hear me say Woody Harrelson or Beckett. Anyways, they end up tripping the alarm thanks to the pirates, and that sends out these vulture droids. I think that's what they called them, or maybe raptors or something like that. It's basically the little spy droids with laser cannons. Val's like, I love you, baby. I have to blow myself up with the bridge so that we can do this plan. No, don't do it. Ah, she blew up. Dang it, now it's just you, me, and Chewbacca, Beckett. Alright, let's take this thing off. Don't worry, the pirates will fly away since we're flying straight at a mountain. And, of course, because it happened in the original, Han dumps the cargo, which makes the pirates dump the cargo, and it blows up a mountain, and so they lose the hull. They go and park and mark graves for the two partners. Beckett's all upset, and he's like, don't you realize this wasn't for us? We were hired to do this, and now we're going to have mercenaries on our tails for the rest of our lives. Why didn't you think things through? Well, hey, wait. Why don't we go to this guy that hired you, and we can talk to him and settle this? All right, fine, but I'm not going to like it. So they go to the place of the Crimson Dawn, I believe they were. And I was like, why not just use the Black Sun Vigo? The Black Sun Gang. And I'm like, I know that's Legends, but you guys can work this in. You work Terrace Kasi in later in the same movie. Anyways, they go to this guy's place, and he's having a big party, and Beckett's like, don't trust anyone here. No one is your friend. Everyone here would kill you if it meant money. I'm going to go talk to some people. Bye. While he's there, oh, hey, Kira. Wow, isn't it weird that you just so happen to be here at this party? Oh, yeah, it's been 3 years. Yeah, you look great. Oh, by the way, I'm actually the assistant to the guy that you're trying to see. Oh, really? Ah, yes, it is I, that guy who I completely forget his name, and he's not really relevant to the thing, unfortunately, despite how big a role he is. So basically, Han talks his way out of it, because that's his thing, is he can talk his way out of it. He convinces them to let him and Beckett survive if they pull off one more plan for him, which will get raw materials, which means more money because you take out the middleman somehow. And I didn't understand how that was any better. But apparently the material is very volatile, and it'll only stay safe for so long before it blows up. And this leads to the Kessel Run. Because it was mentioned in the original, we have to do it here. And yes, it's cool seeing some of this, but it's also very annoying that they tried to just compress it all now. So they decide, because Kira has to go with them, they decide to meet an old friend of Kira's named Lando Calrissian. And they play a card game, which, it's cool and all. And I thought they said the original game was dice that he won, because that's why he's got the dice in the later. But no, so Han is like, hey, don't worry, I got this. I'm going to play this card game I've never played before and win at betting. It's basically poker. And he builds up this whole bravado. He's like, oh yeah, I've got a great ship, and I'm willing to bet with it if you want to bet your ship. And Lando, of course, has the Falcon. That's the whole thing. And Lando is like, all right, fine. You're too cocky for your own good. I win because I was cheating, but I'm not going to say that out loud. Han walks off, and he's all upset, and he's like, there's no way he had that card, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, because the original. So, as they're leaving the place, Lando sees Kira, and he's like, Kira, oh, it's been too long. Oh, yeah, Lando, oh, it's nice to see you. Hey, what brings you here? Oh, I need a ship. Oh, well, why didn't you just say so? Because Han Solo over here needed a reason to convince the audience that this was the first meeting between you two. Oh, that's cool. By the way, I own a female droid that's all about droid equality. Isn't that weird? It also turns out that it's hinted that we are romantically involved, which I thought was really weird. And they even, at one point, Kira and this robot, L3, are talking, and the droid's like, sometimes I think maybe, but no, I don't feel for him that way. And Kira's like, wait, how does that work? And she's like, it does. And I'm like, ew. So, we now have Beckett, Han, Chewie, Kira, Lando, and L3 all going to this place in the Millennium Falcon, which is shaped slightly different because it has an escape pod hatch right in the middle at the front. That will come into play later. So, they go to the planet, and they're like, wait, what's the plan to get in? Oh no, I've got a plan. Han and Chewie are going to go in dressed as slaves, and Beckett is going to be pretending to be the bodyguard to Kira, who is going to be pretending to be a imperial senator or ambassador or something. And of course, because original trilogy, Beckett has the armor that Lando wears later. And again, that's more stuff that I'm like, you really, okay, whatever. But, yeah, so they send Han and Chewie down into the mines, and while there, Kira has to speak with the warden, and the warden's like, oh, yes, you said you wanted to trade them for spice. Well, let's talk in my private chambers real quick. You can bring your droid, that's fine. Droids don't do anything. They close the place, and suddenly Han and Chewie start their plan, and Beckett's like, oh, oops, guess I gotta start killing. Pow, pow. The warden's like, hey, what's going on out there? And then Kira takes him down off screen using martial arts. And L3's like, whoa, I've never seen anybody do that. What's that? And she's like, oh, it's Terrascasi. What's that? Oh, it's a really bad video game from the PlayStation era. Personally, I loved the video game. But I think that's nostalgia. So yeah, Terrascasi, according to legends, is a martial arts style developed to fight against Force users. Why it's not more widespread, I'll never know. Anyways, they tell L3 to get on the security console so that they can do some stuff, and she walks over and she's like, okay, well, I'm going to get on this. Oh, there's a droid in the way. Hey, sir? Move, please. Oh, you've got a restraining bolt. Let me just... Oh, I popped it off. Oh, I'm free. Thank you, ma'am. What do I do now? I don't know. Go free your brethren. I gotta use this. That's a good idea. Jailbreak! The droid frees all the other droids, and all the droids start freeing the prisoners, and there's a giant jailbreak going on while they're trying to do this giant covert operation because the Crimson Dawn don't want to infringe on other gangsters' group. Or territory, rather. So they're doing the plan, they've got everything going off, and Han and Chewie split up because Chewie, while in the mines, sees his, he sees more Wookiees. Forgot to mention earlier, during the train scene, there's a part where, Chewbacca almost gets hit by a rock, and you think, oh, that's the life debt. Anyways, so during this part, Han gives Chewie a stun baton and runs off to finish the job. And Chewie eventually is like, I can't leave him, I owe him a life debt because of the rock thing from earlier. Which, question, how is Han that strong? Because in this, the train turns sideways, Chewie almost falls off, manages to get grabbed by Han, and Han is holding him up from falling off. But it's stated that Chewie is 800 pounds. Again, more stuff that irritates me about this. But anyway, so Han does a thing where he walks up to a guard that's guarding this vault, and the guard says something. He's like, that's what I said. Kicks him in the nuts, knocks him out. And they're like, oh, he's good at talking his way out of things. Yeah, isn't that weird? It's like it'll come up a lot. So, grabs the stuff. They get out of the mine. Chewie comes back and helps him. He wants to go leave with his family, the other Wookiees, but he's like, no, I have to go stick with Han until the life debt's repaid. Goodbye. So he goes with Han. Lando notices the jailbreak, comes out of his ship, and he's like, wait, what's going on? Everybody's shooting at my ship. Pow, pow, I'm going to help fight too. L3's out there like, liberation! Oh no, I've been shot. So they're all starting to get back on the ship. Lando has to run out and save L3. Pulls her torso off of her legs because she's a droid and she can't support herself after being shot. He gets shot in the shoulder, which explains the injury in the original trilogy. And anyways, he gets the torso back on the ship with the help of Han. They take off, and they're like, wait, L3's the only one that had a supercomputer that could navigate through the Maw, which is this giant maelstrom on this planet, and they had planned on using it since there's a giant Star Destroyer in their way. And Han's even like, oh, don't worry, they're not going to send more than one TIE fighter after a rinky-dink freighter like this. No, they send like 7 TIE fighters, and he's like, oh, guess I was wrong, even though I was one of them. So they take off into the maelstrom. Han shows off his piloting skills, flying around, getting the other TIE fighters destroyed. Beckett's all upset. And, finally, Lando's given the suggestion by Kira and Han, hey, what if we take the droid, L3's brain, and stick it into the ship so that they can use its brain to navigate through the Maw. So they do that while in the Maw, and they find out, oh, the Maw is actually a gravity well, and there's a giant squid creature living in there. The squid creature gets tricked by having Han launch the escape pod into the center of the gravity well, which sends it to the well, and it's getting sucked in. you see a rock hit the Falcon and go away, and that's why the panel always falls down on it. Ha ha, because original! Isn't it funny how many shoutouts we have? I hit my microphone because I was so upset. Anyways. So thanks to the brain, they're able to light speed out of the maw. So now we know why the Falcon is shaped that way, why the Falcon can be talked to by both C-3PO and R2, and why that panel on the Falcon tends to fall. But we're not done yet. They get to a refinery on this little planet. Forgot to silence my phone. They're refining the material so that they can sell it better. The pirates show up, and Han tries to talk his way out again by saying that on that ship, the Falcon, there are 30 armed men. Lando just pieces out. And he's like, never mind. So Beckett shows up, and he's like, so what do you pirates want from us? And they're like, their leader takes off her helmet, and she's like, surprise, I'm a woman, you didn't know that. And guess what? We're not pirates, we're actually refugees. Our planets have been attacked by the Empire for their natural resources. Oh, that's a shame. Han Solo, heart of gold over here. We should help them. We need to give them the stuff that we're trying to take from them right now, even though it's from a completely different planet. It'll help them. No, I'm not trusting them. Look, this plan is a bust if this is what you're doing. I'm gonna leave. I hear there's a big gangster out in Tatooine that can really... And I'm like, ugh. You're just trying to give reason as to why Jabba the Hutt is a thing in the original. Even though if you read the legends, there's the Hutt cartel and it's been forever ago. But I digress. Again, this is why I'm annoyed by this movie. So Han shows up at the Crimson Dawn's place with Chewie and Kira. And the Crimson Dawn guy's like, okay, well, can I see the stuff? And Han's like, yeah, here it is. It's in this case. Well, open the case. All right, I'll open the case. See? This is them. Hand me one. What? Yeah, hand me one. Okay, here you go. Wow, this is incredible. It looks like the real thing. What? That's because it is. No, because, my informant, Beckett, come in here, please. Beckett shows back up. He tells me that you were actually planning on tricking me and giving me fake stuff so I would pay you and then you could take off. And you were going to give away your stuff. Well, that's why I sent my men to ambush the pirates. Beckett's there, and he's like, sorry, kid, it's just business. Nothing personal. And Han's like, oh, well, you told me something earlier, because he said earlier in the movie, Beckett said that people are predictable. And Han's like, people are predictable. The 30 armed guys surround the pirates, and then it turns out, oh, the pirates aren't the pirates. The pirates are actually the natives to that refinery, and the pirates show up and take out all the armed guards. But that's in a completely different area of the thing. And so Han's like, and since your 30 armed guys aren't here, I assume your staff is pretty low. Beckett realizes what happens, pulls out his blasters, shoots the two guards, and the Crimson Sun guys, or Crimson Dawn, is like, what? Beckett, why'd you do that? No, yeah, Crimson Sun. I've been saying it wrong the entire time. Beckett, why'd you do that? I want to think, and I don't like being the only one with, like being the only one with a blaster in the room. So, Chewbacca, I'm going to hold you at gunpoint, grab the stuff, let's go. Totally forgot to mention that Han got his blaster thanks to Beckett. And, yeah. That was way earlier in the movie. But anyways, so Beckett and Chewie leave with the stuff, and the Crimson Sun guy decides to get these little itty-bitty double-sided knives with a little laser edge and try to kill Han. And Kira's in the room, and Han is trying to kill the Crimson Sun guy, and the Crimson Sun guy is like, now, Han, this would be the best time for us to team up so that neither of us have to die, and we go after Beckett. And Han's like, yeah, that'd be a good idea, huh? But there's only one problem with that. And basically he's like, I don't want to get backstabbed. Kira shows up and protects the Crimson Sun guy with a sword, and like disarms Han. And Han's like, Kira, no, why? And she's like, because I'm supposed to be his betrothed and I'm loyal to him and blah blah blah. And he's like, good, Kira, now kill him. And his knife had gotten caught on her sword somehow. She flips around and stabs it right into the guy's chest, and he dies. And she's like, go after Beckett. I have to do something real quick. I'll be right behind you. Han leaves. She takes the guy's ring and reveal, surprise, Darth Maul out of nowhere. So she was Darth Maul's current apprentice, or something like that. Or I guess Darth Maul is the head of the Crimson Sun. I have no clue, but she reports that the guy died thanks to Han Solo, and Darth Maul's all like, oh, well, he must be no ordinary man to have killed that guy who was trained in Terrascasi and trained you. Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, man, we're so lucky because Beckett and Han Solo killed that guy, and I'm still here. They got away. Sorry, I'd showed up after he was dead. Well, come find me on Dathomir, and we will be working much closer now. Okay, fine. Han meets Beckett on the beach, and they get into a standoff, and Beckett's like, oh, so is he dead? Uh-huh. And Kira? So, you couldn't kill the girl, eh? Well, let me tell you one important thing, and this is going to be the most important thing in your life. The thing is, and then Han shoots him. Surprise! Han shoots first! I'm so annoyed. Anyways, Han runs over to Beckett because Beckett's basically the closest thing he's had to a dad, and he's like, you did good, kid. I was about to shoot you, but you shot first. Ha-ha! So, Beckett dies on the sand. Han and Chewie see Kira in this tower that turns into a starship taking off, and he returns the ore stuff to the pirates, the refugees. And the leader of the refugee, the female, is like, actually, we're starting a rebellion. Ha-ha! And we need strong warriors like you to be commanders and generals. Well, that's kind of you, but no thanks. So, surprise, that was the start of the rebellion, apparently. And Han was a big leading start to the rebellion. So after all that, Han and Chewie go back to the betting place, and Han sees Lando, and Lando's like, hey, we're all friends here, right? And Han like starts to threaten him, and Lando lifts up an arm in defense, and he's like, Chewie's gonna rip off your arm, and they grabs his hand that he's got up, gives him a big hug, and pulls the cards out from Lando's sleeve without him noticing. And he's like, buddy, nah, I'm just messing with you. Of course we're friends. You think I was gonna have him pull your arms off? That's hilarious. Hey, why don't you deal me in on this game? Alright, fine. They have another card game. Han beats him, wins the Falcon. They fly off. Credits roll. And that was Solo, a Star Wars story. I was very disappointed with this. They crammed everything about Han Solo into one little adventure. If they had set it up so it was like a long-standing adventure instead of just this 2 to 3 day thing that happened, it would have been so much better. But no, all of Han Solo's lore, all of his greatest stuff, just right there. And he even right before they take off, Chewie's like, "Bruh," and Han's like, "Oh, well, Beckett told me about this gangster out in Tatooine that's putting together a little team. Let's go there." Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so, now you know how Han got the Falcon. Now you know why Han is so good at talking his way out of things. Now you know why Han shot first. Now you know why Han is... It ruins the mystique behind Han Solo as a character. When you put everything into his first job as a smuggler, it ruins everything, because now it's like he's like, it's supposed to be like 20 years later when Luke finally joins up. I guess it'd be like 15 years by that point. But Han is like, it's like Han's like at the end of his career, and he's still talking about everything he did his first job. And it really ruins the entire legend of Han Solo. When you know how everything happened and how everything goes, it messes up everything. But I still loved it. And I hate myself for it, because I'm like, this is so stupid, but I love it. With that in mind, guys, I give this movie a Terrace Kasi out of 10. So like and share if you enjoyed. Subscribe, become part of the Panda Party, because there ain't no party like a Panda Party, because Panda Party don't stop. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.